Hello and welcome to the Dublin Arsenal podcast. On the show this week, in breaking transfer news, Matt Turner has joined Notts Forest for a reported fee of £10 million, with David Raya looking more likely to join from Brentford this week, either on loan or as a fully confirmed fee. Also on the show, we will be reviewing our final two pre-season fixtures of the summer, our penalty successes over Man City and Monaco in the Community Shield and Emirates Cup respectively, and we'll also be looking forward to our opening Premier League match at home to Notts Forest at 12:30 p.m. Sit back and enjoy the show. Okay. On the show this week, I'm joined by the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club committee member and Austrian gooner, Martin Sunville. How are you, Martin?
Good evening. Yeah, not too bad. Getting ready for the weekend.
There we go. There we go, lads. 9 months of absolute mayhem ahead.
Yeah.
It's Gooners on tour this week, Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club. And I'm also joined by fellow gooner and lifelong supporter, Brendan Boyd. How are you, Brendan? And welcome back.
Good. Nice to see you again, guys.
Good to have you back on so soon again, Brendan. It's usually about 3 to 6 months, but back-to-back shows. Nosebleed time.
Good behaviour.
I'm your host, as always, Jonathan Giles, and welcome to the show. I suppose we'll begin the show with in breaking news that happened this afternoon, lads and listeners out there. Matt Turner, our US international, has joined Nottingham Forest for a reported fee of £10 million. It could look likely that he might start against us on Saturday, which will be a twist of fate, all right. He might have one of those games where he stops everything. It's also probably looking more likely, before we came on air, Martin mentioned it to me, David Raya is looking more likely to join on loan than a confirmed fee. What do you make of it, Martin, the bit of business today?
Yeah, like obviously, like Turner going to Forest, you know, as I said, like if he plays against us, it might be a hopefully like not a good twist, you know, like you never know. But it's kind of a strange one, like that you said, like, you know, like the guy who's just trained with you the last week is gonna turn up against you on the weekend. But yeah, let's see how that goes. But it was kind of foreseeable that that's gonna happen. And then return now is Raya coming to Arsenal. Whatever way this is going to go, if it's a loan, if it's a full transfer, it's going to be an interesting situation, I think, to get. Because Ramsdale, obviously, look, every goalkeeper has some mistakes, you know, but he's doing quite well. But, like, look, we always said, like, last year, we need somebody, you know, to, if something happens to Ramsdale, we need somebody who can step up. And Turner, as good as he was, I don't think anybody ever fully trusted him. So even though he's a good goalkeeper and he's an American number one, I think it's definitely an upgrade, and it just shows you we really show that we want to go somewhere. And look, we have to play Champions League, we have to play all the cups. So yeah, Ramsdale can't play every game, and you know it will definitely put some pressure on it. And pressure is good, you know. And look, if he can have every position with two good players, that's exactly what we want. And let's see how it turns out and where we go with it, you know. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and £10 million is a nice price. I think we got a bit more than we actually paid for him as well.
We paid only, I think, 4.5 or 5 million we paid for him. Yeah. So like it's a good turnaround in a year. So thank God it's the first time I think we make money out of a player.
Yeah, for sure. You know? So, yeah.
So yeah, like it's a bit different.
Yeah, Brandon, we were talking about myself and John and yourself. We were talking about this at the end of the podcast last week, the potential signing of David Ray, and as it turns out, Matt Turner's gone now as well. And you were saying we were more looking likely to get about £10 million for Turner, for a player that only played in really the Europa League games last season. What do you make of the bit of business today?
Well, I think it's great business. As we touched on previously, I don't think very many Arsenal fans were overly confident in his ability, especially with his feet, which is, as far as Arteta goes, the way that he wants his goalkeepers to play. And it's it was almost a strange buy, because he even held his hand up and said he's not very good with his feet. And in he came, did relatively okay. Didn't make many rickets, to be fair to him, but I think, as we said before, I was never confident. Neither were very many other people, and obviously Arteta wasn't comfortable with him either, or confident in him, and that's why he's gone. And it takes a chunk off the Raya money. 10 million, good enough. We've made money on him. Raya, we've been after for years, according to reports, and he's come in 30 million or whatever the price is. You knock 10 million off that, you've got him for 20 million, and you've got one of the best keepers in the league to go toe to toe with Ramsdale. And one of the things that I think it does show is Arteta's ruthlessness. He's got Ramsdale to sign a brand new contract a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago, whatever it was. And then straight away, he's brought in a guy that could ultimately put him on the bench. And that's the same he's done the same with Tierney and a number of other players. And, that's it. Onwards and upwards. I've got I'm delighted that we've got players that are pushing for their number one positions. And, and I think he's going to do it in other positions as well.
You already did, I think, and then as well as what I think with the Turner, and especially as well with the Trusty one, like they've been biased they're kind of dictated by the American fan base, that we had to buy some players with a little bit of American background, and they've obviously never been bought, to be a fixture, like a proper player, unless they're really special talents. But I think they were basically bought just to, look, we are actually supporting the American league as well, and we want to get a few American fan base in, and that's it. And now we both turned them around. Like Trusty had a great season last year at Birmingham, I think he played. So we play of the year, and we made money on him, and we made money on Turner, and that's exactly what it is. It's not only about football, obviously, as well. We have to pay the bills, and so I can understand why it is. And Turner, as we all said, he's not the best with the feet. We never really kind of trusted him as such because we're all kind of worried what happens. So hopefully, like now with Raya in, that's not gonna be an issue anymore. Hopefully,
There's no drop off in quality if Raya comes in for Ramsdale.
Exactly, and that's what you want, and then he's going to be a leader as well, from the back, and that's what you need. You need somebody to make exactly basically what Ramsdale can do, and Raya can. And look, as I said, sometimes you need to have this uncertainty about your position to get the best out of it. Not that Ramsdale didn't play well, but he did make a few sloppy mistakes. But everybody does that. But if you don't have anybody pushing for your position, then you're just going to be very comfortable. And for me, as I said this before, like Bellerin was one of them kind of examples. He never had anybody really to push him. He was just guaranteed to play, and he just kind of like slowly kind of wilted away, and he never really, for me, never really finished on the full potential. And because that was just because he didn't have anybody to push him in his position. So Arteta knows what he's doing, I think, and fair play to him, and see how it works out. It's goalkeeper position is a bit different than the rest of the field, but because he can't just come on in the 60th minute, and get a 30-minute game time. That just doesn't happen with keepers. But look, as I said, there's other games he has to play, and let's see how it goes.
Yes, and Brendan mentioned that there a player that could be on his way out probably before the end of the transfer window. I was reading today, Kieran Tierney could be a possible loan to Real Sociedad. It's coming out. Yeah.
It's all like, as I said, it's going to be another month. Like, and obviously we're going to start the league now, but it's going to be another month of madness, And in some ways, it's great that we already did our main business. Like maybe a striker would be nice to like the last piece of the jigsaw, maybe. But let's see how we go. Like, depending on where Balogun goes, especially with Jesus now as well, not being fit for the next 5-6 weeks. So another month of craziness, and then let 11 man decide for 9 months what kind of mood I'm going to be the next year.
How much of a bad mood?
Yeah, at the moment it's okay. So let's hope we can keep it after Saturday like that. So it'll be all right.
Yeah, we've recouped. Same with the transfers, the outgoings in particular. We've recouped 40-odd million, from 6 million from Pablo Marie, 21 from Granit Xhaka to Leverkusen. Maitland-Niles went. He ran down his contract. He went to Leon there, notice for free, so that's a good move for him. Austin Trusty 5 million and Matt Horner 10 million. So that's the Orient Timber you know, you could say Urian Timber's being covered because he cost 38 million. So that's good transfer business already, and there's going to be a lot more. It looks like
there might be a few more to go. Exactly. Yeah. So
Nicholas Pepe is on to look for his contract. He's not. He's on to look for the money he's due out the final couple of years. You know.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like. It looks like we'll have to terminate his contract by the looks of it. You know, I would have liked to get a few quid off Pepe, but he could end up like Aubameyang and a few others that we just had to cut ties with, you know. But you know, luckily that's just a distant memory of bad transfer business, you know. But I'm sure David Raya, like we're bringing in a Spanish. I think he's third choice in the Spanish international team, and he's bringing Premier League quality. And as Aaron Ramsdale himself said, I think in an interview there after the game against City, he says, "Bring it on." You know, he says, "Bring on," and that's good to hear, isn't it? You know, from you know, I think the game I was at now against the Emirates Cup, he pulled off a great save against the Russian player Golovin. He got down really well, quick, and his penalty save. You know, you could see in him that he can feel. He feels that signing coming now. You know, and he wanted to show Arteta, I'm still number one, and I think he kind of cemented that over the 2 games. So there's going to be a lot more transfer business there, but that was the breaking news from today. Matt Turner to Nottingham Forest for 10 million. And we're going to try to do that over the next few podcasts before the transfer window to start off the show. I think getting that bit of breaking news out is good for all the listeners and get our viewership up, hopefully. We move on to the game on Sunday, I suppose, lads. Community Shield. I know Brendan was at this one. His son is still white in the face. He was telling me from upper tier madness.
Guilty as charged.
He's going to buy him a season ticket to get over the show.
Everyone loves 101st minute equaliser, whatever it was.
Long may all those at a time, them injury time minutes keep building up for the Arsenal because it's helped us over the last season. It was 1-1, of course, the game. It wasn't really as exciting, you know. I think 2 teams was kind of figuring themselves out, each other out. I thought we were probably, not being biased, I thought we were the better of the 2. You know, we looked like bit more fresher, wanting to win it. City probably sick of going to Wembley and winning either the League Cup or FA Cup over the last couple of seasons, but a good benchmark to put down. The Cole Palmer goal, I think we'll all agree, Ramsdale didn't stand a chance. You know, Tierney just got dragged over too much. Gabriel, you know, at that stage of the game, they looked tired at the back. They've done a lot. Very impressed with Timber, though. Got a lot of important blocks in. Smith Rowe as well. It was a bit of a game change, you know, fresh legs and bit of a menace, which was nice to see him getting back to enjoying it again. And then, of course, Trossard, he's going to be a big game changer, I think, as well. Probably lucky with the deflection, but I think we're due a bit of luck after them beating us to the title last season. And our penalties, I was at the Monaco game last Wednesday, and the way we were taking our penalties, it was taken with so much confidence. You know, every player that stepped up didn't look like they were going to miss. We're in past seasons, you say, oh God, you see coming up to step take a penalty. I begin with you, Brendan. You were at Wembley. It looked a cracker of a day weather-wise. Pretty decent game. What was it like from your seat, Brendan?
Hi. I was in the upper tier, the front row of the upper tier. So on the equalising goal, as the lads know, I lifted my 11-year-old son up to cheer with him, and he was rather terrified. That might have dropped him over the edge. So that's what we were laughing about there. But but back to the game. The one thing that really stood out for me, and in the 3 games last season, I thought we looked always nervous against them, and it was really men against boys. Whereas this time, I thought we stood toe to toe with them. But there's one period, I think, in the first half, they must have had the ball for about the majority of 10, 15 minutes period. And then after that, we took the ball, we were knocking the ball about, we were causing them problems. I mean, they are, you know, they're the best team around, but we really didn't look out of our depth against them. And, you know, people are saying we're a bit fresher than them, we're ahead of them in pre-season. But I just think we didn't go out scared. which is one of the things that I felt we were before. And that's a massive, massive thing off our back. And they'll be more worried about us now. And like, we're going to go up to the next league game we play against them ready. We're like that. Hold on, we just beat them a few months ago. We've got nothing to fear, or we've got as much to fear as we have against anybody else. Let's go out, play our own game, and put it to them. And we deserved. I thought we were the better side overall, and I think we deserved what we got. And as Jonathan mentioned, the confidence that we took those penalties with was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Vieira, I'll give him massive, massive kudos, because he hit an awful penalty against Man United, great one against Monaco, and to put that penalty into the top corner in front of 80,000 people, really, really impressive. So I was delighted.
Yeah, it's nice to. It's always nice to win at Wembley, isn't it? And get your season off to a winning start, particularly for Rice, Timber, and Havertz to win the Emirates Cup and Community Shield. Meaningless, really, in terms of medal wise and all, but just to give them a confidence booster and you could see the togetherness there. Havertz had a couple of chances as well in the first half where. I think he's so rusty. Sorry, Brendan. I think he's so rusty from his season at Chelsea last year. If he had joined after scoring, say, 20 odd goals, he would have probably buried them. Do you agree? He looked at still a bit.
I thought he was probably our best player in the first half. I thought he was excellent. Now, the chances, like I look back on them, I thought at the time he should have scored them. Yeah. But looking back on them again, I think they're two good saves by the goalkeeper. The ball, he got them on target, and I think he faded a little bit in the second half. But again, I was really impressed by him.
Yeah, I was impressed by him actually in the Emirates Cup as well, Emirates Cup game as well. Yeah, he's had a good start to his Arsenal career. Martin, what did you make of the game on Sunday yourself?
Yeah, that's it. Declan Rice, first competitive game, first trophy. Harry Kane, are you watching? No, look, I think, as we all know, like the Community Shield is like, if you win it, it's great. If you don't win it, look, it's just I think and in fairness, like whoever won the Community Shield didn't go on to win the Premier League. That's like a bit of a one of these chalices you don't want to fucking hold,
Yeah.
But look, it's just like I think we, as Arsenal fans, we love to go to Wembley. Like it seems to be like our kind of ground where we really have good memories, and it was like again, it was a great opening to the season. It's just kind of regarding Havertz, I found. It's funny that like Arteta didn't play him in that kind of role, in the preseason games before, and then all of a sudden, like the first game, he's gonna basically put him in the position where he didn't really play well for Chelsea. So, but he, looking at like all the games again, like he played quite well. Obviously, the goal, the chance he had, could he take it? Of course, there's always. But look, if the defender doesn't put his leg up, or he's a different stance, then he has a better chance. But look. He's playing quite well. I think it takes time for them to grow into this team, but I'm impressed and the signings what we have, especially with Declan Rice, because the first two games he played, he didn't look too much going back, but there was a few passes that he actually come back to, and he ran past the City players. It was great to see, and as he said himself, like he has so much to get information from Arteta, the way he wants him to play, and it takes time for him to do. And look, they had the chances, and let's hope that's going to go on. On some other things on it, look, we kind of been lucky, because if that Foden goal would have gone in, like with Ramsdale just kind of with his little, with the ankle, he kind of tapped it on and he passed by, it would have been a different story. But I think we deserved a 1-1 draw, 100%. And what impressed me most about the penalties, I think, that is another master plan of Arteta, that he actually went for this, and he's actually planned for this to happen, because every single game they had, there was a penalty shootout after. There was one in the MLS game, there was one in the United game, in the Monaco. There was always thing, and even Ramsdale said it. They are planning for this, and they're trying to cover every piece of uncertainty that what you could have in a match, that you gonna get over it, And as you said, the first penalty what Vieira had against Man United was terrible, but he learned from it, and you can't save these penalties.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, if they go a little bit over, then you look like a real knob, But that's just kind of what it is. But look,
yeah,
fair play to them, But as I said, they trained this, they have the experience now, and it just gives them confidence, and that's what you want. And Man City obviously didn't train penalties, So and as well as like Ramsdale saving a few, probably as well with the knowledge, like look at there's somebody else going to come in, like I have to play better, and that just is the first step in it, they're pushing Ramsdale to something better, and exactly that's what we're hoping. So look, it was a great game. We had chances. I think it was quite open. I think the 1-1 was fair in the end. Penalties is always a lottery, it could have gone either way, but as I think we prepared better for it, and that's why we deserve to win this, So let's hope we can bring this and do this as well in the rest of the season and dominate them, because one thing, as we said, especially with Haaland wasn't really anywhere.
No.
And if you've seen
touches.
Yeah, and if you've seen the corners, like compared to last season, like Rice against Haaland is just a complete different pairing, like when I think, because like he didn't even be able to jump, and that's what we got with Rice. I think, he'd be able to defend us like that, and 100%. And it looked like a complete, as you said, they normally looked quite nervous playing against them. We didn't look nervous, but yeah, sometimes like the goal, few deflections, like, and then the goal itself, the shot was unstoppable. But if De Bruyne didn't get his head to it, like it bounces off the knee from Tierney, that goal wouldn't have happened. But that just happened. That's football, and that can happen anytime. Great goal from Palmer, but yeah, we came back again and we fought till the end. And it'd be interesting to see if we can get this 10-minute extra time, if this is going to be a constant now in Premier League games as well, if they're going to do this in the Premier League.
Yeah. We'd lost our previous 9 games against Man City, and the only other time Arteta's beaten Guardiola was during the lockdown when we won in the semi-final of Aubameyang, so I didn't think it was that seems so like years ago now, doesn't it?
Crazy, isn't it?
9 games, and you could see Arteta wanted to win that. You could see with him taking photos with his sons, and at the end you could see what it meant, to finally get one over, and you can see his team actually progressing now, after nearly 4 years now at the end of this year, which is mad in church. I was listening to Arscast today, and they mentioned the way referees are clamping down on certain things this season, in particular kicking the ball away, and I know there was a couple of players on Sunday where it's yellow carded for that. Hopefully that, it seems a bit harsh. It was I think it was in the opening minutes of the game, but hopefully we don't see it. The referees, there's at a time as well. I wouldn't like to see 10 or odd minutes, because it can go against you. We got lucky Sunday; it worked in our favour, but you're hoping that there's going to be some sort of logic.
Yeah.
Every time the ball goes out of play, and keeping the ball in playing, we don't want to ruin the game too much. But I was happy. The back line really impressed me though, lads. Saliba, Timber and Gabriel, they've done a great job, but it looks really solid, Martin, doesn't it?
Yeah, like look at Timber, especially. I think from all the 3, even that Declan Rice is obviously our most expensive player we bought, and he's gonna be obviously like a great extension to the midfield. But Timber, for the price we got him, like, he's just, what I've seen so far from him, the games he played absolutely immense, and he deserves a start on Saturday 100%. And the good thing is with Timber, like, he's playing probably on his weakest position. That's the left side, like he's probably more a center defender or a right side defender than he left, but he's just playing basically with the role of Zinchenko, and if you can turn him around the other side, imagine if both of them on each side, be absolutely amazing. So look, again, it's an early thing. You can't read too much into preseason, but what I've seen so far from him, I'm really, really impressed. And with Saliba being back as well to kind of his nearly full strength, and together with Gabriel. And the good thing is we have really people we can change, we're not depending on it, and that's what we said about Arteta. He's buying players that can, first of all, play in different positions. They're not just bound to one position. And he's back in every position up with another player with the same standard. And we were crying out last year. We said we had 12 or 13 starters, and that's it. And then the rest were kind of like a little step down in quality. And when Saliba got injured, when Tomiyasu got injured, that cost us the league. That's as simple as that. and he knows it. And he basically goes out and buys the players, and fair play to him. And long may it last, and hopefully we can get a few more and just make the squad better, and we then have a great season. And that's what you need, and that's what you want to learn. Of course, it's bitter that we kind of faltered on the last couple of hurdles, but that's what it is. But yeah, I'm happy with the back line. Be interesting as well. They're going to be fighting for positions. But again, just can only be a positive.
Yeah, it's great to see. And with Jesus out now for the next few weeks, probably Brendan, do you see Kai Havertz fitting into that role for, do you see him being the link man?
It was a strange one because anyone that was picking their 11 had Eddie Nketiah in there. And Nketiah had played all the games in pre-season up there in place of Jesus. So when he pulled the team got pulled up and Havertz was in there, I was surprised, same as anybody else. But that sort of harks back a little bit to Arteta's ruthlessness. Yeah. And maybe like he wanted to change the positions a little bit for City. I know we had like two holding midfielders in there. And also Martinelli was very, very deep and was helping Timber an awful lot. Especially the first half, they were right down below me, and you could really see that, that we were sitting back and we were letting them have the ball at times. And, even Havertz was doing an awful lot of running. And it was a very interesting thing. I don't know if anyone really noticed it, but a lot of the time we were letting the keeper have the ball, and then we were just cutting off all the other avenues.
Yes, I know.
He was looking up, trying to sort of find somewhere to pass it to, and everything had been cut off for a
simple pass out. Yeah,
a period. But I mean, obviously, City are so good at beating the block, but it was interesting and it was tactical, and it was like a game of chess. And as I said, look, I thought Havertz was very, very good in the first half. Now I'm not sure what he's going to do in a game against Forest. I reckon he'll probably start Nketiah and then he'll maybe drop Thomas Partey and put Havertz in there. But who knows? Yeah. The great thing is that we've got lots of players that can actually play now, and Trossard has been playing so well, except for the Brighton game last season. He deserves to be there or thereabouts or be talked about. So for a change, hopefully, the one thing with Arteta he didn't do last year was rotate. Now he has the option to rotate, and he has to learn how to do it, I think, and do it better than he's ever done before. Well, he hasn't really done it before, but
he's the quality now to do it, hasn't he? He's got the quality. Yeah.
But it's something Guardiola does. Guardiola rotates quite often, and you might see Arteta a little bit more confident with his squad now to actually incorporate that into his managerial style. So, but it will be interesting to see the formation and the team that he picks on Saturday.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole point about it. Like I said, last year we didn't have the personnel to rotate. It just wasn't there. Not that he didn't want to rotate. He knew exactly that he's going to run out of steam one way or the other, and that's why you have to buy players. And if you have players, then you can start rotating, and hopefully that's going to happen. And and I'm sure he learned a lot from Guardiola when he was in Man City, how to do that the best, how to get the best out of players. And that's exactly, I think, why we're doing what we do. And he's, as you said, he's ruthless. He won't let anybody be an ego to no, I'm not going to play. He's taking it and actually making them better because of that, And I think why he played Havertz as well is because he didn't play really in that role. As I said, the whole preseason, he didn't play in the 9. So obviously with Jesus out now, he probably might have to give him a run and see how does it work out. But we do have now other players, we have Balogun is still for us. God knows how for long. But Nketiah is there, but we have Trossard who can play that position. When Jesus is coming back, you have to, and then you have Havertz as well. But I think he needed to see how he would fit in, I think, and he did quite well. But I can see Havertz playing a bit deeper, and play more with Odegaard on the side, and that's good as well. Again, we're not gonna be predictable. Nobody can really go out I knew for a fact, because I'm doing the lineups every week when I go to a match, an hour beforehand. I kind of have my lineup last year, like basically 90% spot on, depending on what happened, because we knew that's our lineup. But now this season, it's going to be difficult, and it's not going to be like that you can depend on everything. And that just can be a good thing for anything when you go to a match. Because if the manager on the other side doesn't know who he's going to play, then they can't prepare for it. And that's the whole thing for it. And I think it can only help us.
Yeah, so tactically it's excellent, and also if he does get the rotation right, we're not going to run out of puff at the end of the season like we did last year, and we're not going to suffer from a lot of injuries like we did last season.
And as well, you have a better bench. That's another thing for because if you look at the bench against Forest compared to what we had last year at the first game, it's a different bench, and it just it can help us in any way. And that's basically the whole point about this.
Yeah, it was good. Look, it's nice to get one over your main rival as well. That you don't be chancing for the title. And look, we can't read too much into it. As always, City steamroll second half of the season. But look, it's a good benchmark to have, isn't it? And it's nice to win the Emirates Cup again since the first time since I think Liverpool back in 2020 when it was lockdown, so no one saw that. Your man of the match, Brendan, from Sunday.
Oh. William Saliba.
Yeah, hands down.
Saliba.
Yeah, he done really well. Saliba. Yeah, Martin, man of the match.
It's hard to say, like for me, like obviously if you have a penalty shootout, you have to put it to Ramsdale, and fair enough, as we said, there was a few stops. I know the lucky one, when Foden kind of went and hit him at the heel. I don't think he knew too much about it, but the corner afterwards where he just went down so quickly on the near side, and he put it because there was a deflection of the head, and that was amazing save. So he kept us in with the ankle, and he kept us in with a really good shot. So for me, Ramsdale, look, he's one of the best keepers there's out there, and you can give it to a lot of players, but for me, he kept us in the game. Plus, he then saved the penalty. So. And he probably De Bruyne, he kind of just made him hit it on the bar. But no. For me, I give it to Ramsdale.
Yeah, I'll probably give it to Yuri and Timber. I thought he done really well. He made important blocks at the right times. And he's he was a bit nervous, I think, as you said, Brendan. The first half, but the second half he started to grow. In the game, and he's starting to get confident now, and he's very athletic as well. He's well built, so I think Zinchenko will have a bit of problem getting past him, in the starting line, which is great to see. We've a player for each position now, and Man City have competition and quality competition, which is great because we've been longing for that for a long time, you could say. But that's the City game covered, lads. Briefly on to last Wednesday, I suppose AS Monaco, the Emirates Cup, was over at that one myself. Always nice to win the Emirates Cup. We went behind through Fofana. Poor goal to concede, really, Took his header well, it was a cross come shot, I suppose, and he just got his head on it. And then in the second half, at the end of the first half, Eddie Nketiah at the far stick, getting the equaliser. Monaco, I have to say now, Arteta said himself after the game, Monaco was just a test, to see how they were after the long haul flight from America and see how they were up to speed. And Monaco did, they did test us on last Wednesday, They impressed me. A lot of their players impressed me. Ben Sakir is one of them. He's a young lad, but he impressed me on the night now, and it took us till the second half really to get up to a bit of speed, Todd Ramsay was very good though, after coming out in the media, discussing a few bits of his personal life, and he stood up there now, I have to say, on Wednesday and on Sunday, and fair play to him. He's outspoken, but he's a good lad, and he seems to be a big personality there, kind of like a David Seaman, he shouts, good communicator at the back, and we've been lacking that. So you can see a leader in him for being so young. In terms of the penalties, really, we took every penalty really well, like on Sunday. You could see we practiced penalties a lot, I think, during the pre-season, and that bodes well if it gets down to competitions later on, FA Cup, League Cup, or Champions League latter stages. I go to you, Martin. Emirates Cup, like the Community Shield, just really minutes in the legs. But were you impressed with the way the new signings and the lads?
Yeah, look, we talked about it already, like, the new signings, but exactly what you said. I think when they announced the preseason schedules, like, and you're seeing, like, they're going to America, like, and you're traveling along, and you do a lot of fan engagement compared to Man United, actually going to the fans and actually signing stuff, like, so they had to do a lot of traveling, and especially when they came back from LA, like, that's a huge flight. And if you've ever been on any flight, doesn't matter what kind of class you're flying, coming back from LA and you're flying to London or to Dublin, like, what hit you. And to actually have, like, a game like that, I wouldn't say magnitude, it was a warm-up, but to play it, like, for the fans again, they're doing it just to get some minutes into the legs. It's tough, like, like, and we sometimes we say, like, they're being coached and they have everything, like, but it's not easy. As I said, if you ever travel from America somewhere, like, for 3-4 days, you don't know what hit you to get your thing. And for professional footballers, it's even harder. So yeah, he tried a few more bits and pieces out as well. We played quite well, but yeah, it was one of these games, and you've been over there, you've probably seen a little bit more, but was it great to watch?
Wouldn't
be my favorite game, but
yeah.
I think the goal from Nketiah was quite good, because it actually shows what Nketiah does best, to be at the right time, at the right space. He's a poacher, and sometimes we just don't have enough of them passes for him, and yeah, like look at now with Jesus out, I hope he can take his chance, because we really do need it that he actually plays. He seems to be playing better when he starts, rather than coming on, like, in second half. He's not the super Giroud, like, who comes on in 20 minutes to go and he will score a goal for you. That's not Eddie Nketiah's style. He needs to understand, like, get into the game, like, and play. And I think when he starts, he plays better. And he did, and fair play to him. He scored again, because that's what he does when he starts. He scores goals. And let's see how that goes. But yeah, it's the Emirates Cup. Again, penalties in the end, which was great. Gave us the plateau for the next game. But yeah, it's another cup. Jurgen Timber must be over the moon. Like, every time he plays, he gets a cup. So I hope he's kind of like hoping this is gonna end up very well for him. No, look, as I said, I'm impressed what they did, but it wasn't the best game to read too much into
to
it.
measure off. Yeah, right. Yeah. Look, it was just about getting minutes in the legs, getting Rice, Timber, and Havertz to feel the Emirates Stadium, the feel of the crowd. And obviously with Arsene Wenger getting his statue unveiled there, I had actually only missed him on the Thursday by half an hour. He was actually at the statue, and it was only I was killing time to go up to it, because I thought he'd already been at it, and then I saw Lee Judges was actually at it at 1, and I made it for half one, and he was gone. Such as life. But I went around to the old ground, Highbury. The East Stand is still there, standing strong. So it was nice trip, and to take in some nostalgia as well.
Yeah,
seeing the old Highbury as well. Brendan, did you see much of the Monaco game? Did you make much of it yourself?
No, I watched it, and a little bit like what Martin was saying, it wasn't the greatest game. I thought we looked really leggy, and it wasn't the most entertaining. But again, it was all about getting minutes into the legs.
Yeah.
I'll give a little bit of a shout. I thought Fabio Vieira looked lively. I was quite happy with him, to be honest. And a lot of people have said, look, there looks like there's a footballer in there, and there's a little bit light, this, that, and the other. And I thought, with the exception of some of his crossing, I thought he was always available, looking for the ball. And I was impressed with him, and I was happy for him, and delighted. Like, I watched the game against United where he missed that penalty, and the commentators even said, "Oh, look at him, he looks really nervous and he's going to miss it." And obviously he did.
Yeah.
And they said, "Oh, look, I told you so." And that could sort of get onto a young player, and for him then to come back and score 2 cracking penalties, and obviously the winner last weekend. Fair play to him. And I thought, I'll go back to the game there. I thought Timber looked nice, and he's the sort of signing that sailed in underneath Havertz and Rice, and he's been better than both of them performance-wise. And he looks a really nice player. And we've played him all over the place, and he just looks like I think his confidence is growing. He's got a few little shimmies and step overs there, and he's got a high level of skill. And I think people are excited to see what he's going to be all about. I mean, we all know what Havertz and Rice are at, and well, Havertz not so much when he was at Chelsea, but beforehand, we saw how good he was in Germany. But Timber, I didn't really know much about him before
it's
he
interesting
came.
that United didn't go for him, or like didn't put more pressure on it to get him, because like obviously they knew that thing is gonna go. Maguire is probably on the brink of leaving. He would have been probably the perfect replacement for him.
I
so many
think Ten Hag wanted him last year, and they'd already sold 3 players or something. So he said
so
they said no.
Gone,
Yeah, and
he was a big admirer of Timber, because he actually brought him up through the Ajax academy, Ten Hag, and it's amazing how quickly they develop these players. Ajax, isn't it? Like he's a complete player now, and he's only 22, 23. It's just great. And it seemed Eddie and Arteta had their eye on him for the last couple of seasons as well. I was very impressed with him against, I said in a couple of podcasts back, against Liverpool home and away in the Champions League. Him and Alvarez, who went to he's on to sign for West Ham now. He's on to be Declan Rice's replacement, and he's on to be I think he'd be a good replacement at that as well. But Ajax, they seem
any player from Ajax, you're not going to go too far wrong.
Yeah,
because of how they develop. Amazing.
Yeah. It is, isn't it? It's just incredible. The production line every year. They seem.
But that's the style of kind of club they are. Like there's some certain clubs in the world who basically producing year on year on. It's like Salzburg for me, like an Austrian club. Is one of them clubs. They producing them. They go to Leipzig, and then from Leipzig they go to Team Haaland, one of the biggest examples for that. But like it's a shame for the league, because you're producing great players and then you have to sell them, so you don't really see much of them, in Holland or in Austria. But like that's their business model. So they know they're never gonna go up and gonna go where Madrid or Barcelona or United or Liverpool or Austria, or City. So that's just the way they do, and they produce them so fast, as you say. But that's their main focus, from the academy. They're picking them, and bringing them up, and that's great to see, and if you can get players like that, can't go wrong.
Yeah, there's another player we're in from Ajax. It's only been transfer talk. Kudus, his name is. He looks a bit of a player, but look, only speculation, so we won't go into that too much. But look, Emirates Cup and Community Shield, lads, back to back, happy days, and a nice week to be a Gooner. But back to the reality, and as Brendan nicely put it, the shit gets real, and that starts from 12:30 p.m. on Saturday morning against Nottingham Forest. TNT Sport, formerly as BT Sport, will have this one. Nottingham Forest, of course. Matt Turner went there today. Who knows, he could start on Saturday morning. They haven't really made any other really major signs, because they have such a big squad from last season, really. Anthony Alanga went there, really, of note, and Chris Wood made his move permanent. The one player, Awani, we all know about him, got the winner at the City ground there at the end of the last season to help finish our title hopes. I think, I don't know if yourself was there, Brendan, when we won 5-0 there back in October last year. Reece Nelson bagged a brace. I think it was actually on Dublin Martin Day. I couldn't make it because I couldn't walk at the end of it. I'll be walking. I don't know. I'll be walking at the end of this neither. Just be through alcohol. That's hardness. Look, you have to say opening game, lads. First game of the weekend, or second game after the filled play on the Friday night. 12:30 games are great though. Fans just out of bed, already hopefully drunk by 12:30. It's great to have your first game at home though. Martin, myself, Brandon, and yourself will be there. How do you see the game going, Martin? Sorry.
Look, it's always nicer to play at home than away, like, because the last 2 years I think we started playing away on a Friday, so which is never great, So I take a Saturday 12:30 kickoff anytime as your first game. Look at Nottingham Forest are a weird club in the last season, innit? Like they kind of bought so many players. There was like a rumor that Neely Turner deal wouldn't go through because of they have financial problems because some of the players they bought last season they didn't pay yet, so they don't know really what kind of conditions the 10 million going to be told, how going to swap between the clubs. So yeah, I think when you buy 30 players, and you're never gonna have cohesions in the way you play. So it's been interesting. Now they obviously have them for a year. Now Elanga is going to come as well. Kind of good enough player, I think. It be like they're going to be up for it. It's their first game again. Like it's the second season now back in the Premier League. So they're definitely going to be up for it. But I think the way we played in preseason, the way the team looks, I just can't see anything but a win. But it's the first game of the year, the new season, so you don't know. But like, look, as I said, the heart says definitely we're going to win. The head, you have to be careful. And as I said, if Matt Turner plays in goal, bit of kind of bargey there, you never know because he knows exactly what we did in the last 2 months, like in training wise. So he knows exactly like the tactics, what we're going to use. But yeah, look, we're going to be going over. It'd be interesting now. Like, I'm actually more worried about the ticketing, how that's going to work, because it's the first time that everybody has to have a digital ticket. And as much as I can hear from season ticket members not being able to download their wallets, don't have a new wallet now, which they only brought out last week, how that goes for supporters. How I'm just going to be interesting. Like, there's probably going to be 100, 200 people going to be standing in front of the Emirates and can't get in because they don't have a phone with them. So that's my biggest worry, not the game itself. But yeah, look, let's see how it goes, and let's hope we can start the season the same way as we did last year. And then let's go from there.
There's always a chance, if your phone dies at any stage, is there any other backup there? Because that's a possibility. I wonder if
Like, look, it's gonna be like a situation which we never had before, and even as a supporters club, like it took us, we only got our tickets sent by email yesterday, and we didn't really know how to put them to the people. So there's not much communication there. It's going to be a trial and error for Arsenal as well, because this is going to be the first thing. And you said there's season ticket holders. Like, if my dad would go to this game, he wouldn't be able to get in because like a Nokia doesn't have like a smartphone thing on it. So do you know what I mean? And you just really have to think about this, So it's a big step. It's a good step in the direction of that you can stop the touting probably. Be interesting to see how it works, and if they have planned it well enough so that, as you said, what happens if somebody robs your phone, if somebody if you dies your phone, once you're in. So it'd be definitely an interesting way of, I think the only good thing is I think if that happens, say like your phone dies, you can go to the box office and they might, be able to help you there. So, but at the entrance, look, most of the people have it on the phone anyway. It's just something which, which is, I think, but the only thing what we had on the phones was a PDF. Now you can't have a PDF on the phone anymore. You have to download it to your digital pass. And that's just going to be the interesting part of it, because as I said, not everybody follows Arsenal the way we do properly. They just go into the matches and they never thought about it or never heard about it. So it'd be interesting how many people are going to be stuck, can't get in, or going to be delayed coming in because, or even what kind of queues it's going to do. Like people actually trying to figure out only downloading the ticket in the last minute to their pass or whatever. So it'd be an interesting time. But as I said, that worries me more than the game itself.
I have to say, I was at the AS Monaco game before I come on to yourself, Brendan, about that. And a lot of them, actually, I was panicking myself because I had the paper version through the email, A lot of them had it already on their phone. That game was actually on their phone, and everything went from the East stand I was in. Everything went fairly okay. The queue moved fairly quickly, and everyone had their phones ready. Like,
well, if everybody has the phone ready, it should be easier than, like just to have, like paper tickets or whatever. But as I said, it's just like everybody has to have it now, and that's going to be the
big one.
The big one, so we'll see how it goes, but it was a big step for us because we didn't know what's going to happen. How is this tickets going to be issued to our supporters, and it'd be interesting.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Probably would guarantee, I'd advise fans really to go a bit earlier to the ground just to avoid, probably an hour before kickoff, just to avoid any delays, because I'm sure probably will be a bit of a mess. I'm sure BT Sport will cover it anyway. Brandon, how do you see the Nottingham Forest game going on Saturday? It's very hard to tell, isn't it, the first few games of the season?
Yeah, well, as I was saying earlier, I'm not sure what sort of team he's going to pick, and I think he's going to pick quite an attacking team. I don't think he'll be playing two holding central midfielders in Rice and Partey. Yeah. To be honest, I could see him starting Nketiah, and really, if we've got our forward line motoring, Forest aren't going to stop them, and that's really what I'd like to see. I'd like to see us go in for it, and obviously with Rice there, that gives us more of an opportunity to do that. And just Saka unplayable at times, Martinelli unplayable. If he puts Havertz in there, you've got something. You've got Odegaard again, wonderful.
Yeah,
Rice. Yeah. And if he starts Nketiah, you've got a bit of a battering ram there. You've got your goal poacher. But then again, he could change it and have something completely different and put Trossard up there as a false nine or something. But again, all of them are, all of our attacking players are on form.
Yeah.
So I can't see anything but a decent Arsenal win. We've got our full strength defensive line out, with the exception of Zinchenko probably, but like Timber looks a wonderful player as well, as we've mentioned. So I think Forest, again, I think they're bedding in players. There's players from last year are still only getting their feet under the mat, really. So I know they beat us at the end of the season, but I think Arsenal are a completely different beast now. And actually by them winning that game at the end of the season, I think that Arteta can hold that up in a dressing room and say, right, lads, you know what I mean? You thought you could roll this the last time. Didn't happen. Don't think you can do it this time either. Effort, skill, and battling. And then so 3-0 Arsenal.
You can't get any luckier than that out. I'd go for 2 or 3-0 myself. You don't expect a home win being their first game, but you never know. Like Iwani and Morgan Gibbs White, Forrest as well. Like they've got decent players themselves. They can hurt you. They're physical. Chris Wood as well. They've height and physical. But I think a good first test. I think Steve Cooper's a good manager. Done really well to keep Forrest up. And I think this is a good first test. We won our first 5 games last season. A bit tougher. First 10 games is a bit tougher this time around. But I think, to be honest, you prefer to get the tough ones out of the way first to see what stage you're in. We've got 4 games up, 4 or 5 games before we go into the Champions League proper. And hopefully we're up thereabouts in the top 4. But look, I can only see a strong season for us, lads. I'm really looking forward to the opening game of the season. Moving on, just briefly as well. The Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club will be in the River Bar, Martin. Is that right, for the forthcoming season?
They will in the River Bar, and it's going to be officially as well opening to sign up for membership this year. So it's going to be. I think a few lads of them were in on Sunday, on Sunday for the City game. River Bar was hopping already, so long may that continue. And as I said, our support really kind of grew last year and the year before, and it's just going to be an even better season, hopefully. And let's hope the team can basically just continue where they did last year. And because I mean, if you ever been in the River Bar last year, especially the Villa game or the what was it, where we came back from? What did we play?
3-2.
Where we think with Nelson scoring the goal. There are games if you've been in there, it's just incredible. And look, we didn't bring it over the line completely. The support kind of weird away when Man City kind of destined to win it, but look, that's just normal to understand. But 12:30, you be there, be there early, because I'd say the seats are gonna be be taken fairly quickly. But as I said, you can sign up. There will be new badges available from the club, which is great, which we only got made today. So yeah, it should be a good atmosphere, and let's hope we can get on with it and start the season the way we stopped the last one.
Yeah, really looking forward to it, lads. The Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club for League, FA Cup, League Cup, Champions League games there. You can catch us for the next 9 months there. And a big check to the Dublin, to the River Bear lads that put up with us over the few hours they were there every match day.
Yeah.
It's going to be a busy season, I think, for the Dublin Arsenal committee, but one that we all look forward to and relish.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank Martin and Brendan for your participation this week, lads. Always appreciated. Catch our show on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel, Spotify, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook as always. Check out our sister show Beyond the Last Man with Martin himself there. Charlotte said she'd be back. She does confirm that to me this evening, Martin, so you have your guest back. Check out our sponsor, Bannon Sports Direct and LUCAN Housekeeping Services. Declan Rice said thanks for that. Check out our friends at justarsenal.com, and until next week, have a great week and enjoy the show.
Actually, just want to throw something in just at the last minute thing. Golf.co.uk actually just brought out a new Bruce Banana mid-layer long arm shirt for all the Arsenal fans out there. If you play golf, go on to clubgolf.co.uk and have a look at the new products. And there's going to be a code as well in the description of this video, how you can get a bit of a discount as well. All right.
Also, before we finish up, just a quick note to any fans that know any away supporters that involved in the teams in the Premier League season. Martin's going to have a quick say there as well.
Just to kind of what we're trying to do as well. It's just something different, obviously, because reviewing games or whatever. But if we can get some supporters in from different clubs, especially the ones we're going to play in the next couple of weeks, would be nice if we can get them in beforehand, just to have a bit of a see how they feel about the season. You know, how they see us playing us and how we feel about them, and maybe get a bit of friendly banter going. I think it might be something different to the channel and see how it is. So anyone Fulham, Manchester United fans, probably will be a few there. See how we can get them in and have a bit of a different show and see how we go.
But it's been a busy show, lads. Thanks for participating again, and we'll see you all again next week. Enjoy, lads.
See you later, Ryan. Have a good one. All right.